Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fortress Comic News, episode 332. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my co-host, your Mike. What's going on, Mike?
What up? Not a whole lot. Read a couple comics this week. Flash is on HBO now. For those, I've had some people text me that they watched it.
Do you apologize to them?
Yeah. Well, I got some mixed reviews. I like one person said it was an enjoyable plot, but CGI was trash. Ezra Miller ruined the movie, and that was even before they finished the first part of it. But it is what it is. Hey, it's a free movie up there. Yeah, I don't think I'll be watching it again. I almost did watch The Batman though. This weekend again. It was almost time for me to watch that, but
3 hours. I like to rewatch that. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
I went through and was like canceling subscriptions of stuff I've been paying for and don't use.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them got me because apparently I have a Paramount Plus account.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, I haven't watched this. Like, what the fuck do I have with this? Yeah. So I canceled it, and it was like, if you don't cancel, we'll give you 4 months for free. And I was like, well, oh, damn. 4 months for free. So I clicked yes. And I sat there. I'm just like, they're going to get like 2 or 3 more months out of me to pay.
Oh, yeah. Because you're going to forget about it again. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do the same shit.
But now I have 4 months of Paramount Plus for free that I won't use.
Yeah. I don't even know what's on Paramount. I know there's stuff I want to watch on there, but I don't know what. I can't think of it.
I've been wanting to give Star Trek another chance, specifically Next Generation.
Oh, you've never watched all Next Gen?
I have, but I was a kid and I hated it.
See, I loved it as a kid. That's so weird.
No, I hated that stuff as a kid, and it was like that's my dad and my brother are big Trekkies.
Okay,
and I didn't like it, so it's been a joke for a long time with me that Star Trek is trash, but I tried watching the original, and that's not watchable anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Star Trek fans out there. It's just not good.
It's definitely aged out of the movies. I love the movies; are so much fun.
I do like the movies. The movies are really great.
The new movies. I'm sorry, like the new 4 movies they made, 3 or 4.
Oh, I'm even like the original movies from the 90s, like Star Trek 1 through whatever it was. Like I like those too.
Okay,
because we'd all go see those as a family.
Uh-huh.
Actually, one of my parents' first dates was to the first Star Trek movie.
Is that the Wrath of Khan?
No, that's the second movie.
Oh, I guess the Wrath.
That is Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh wow, very fancy.
Yeah, but I've been told as an adult that I should give Next Generation another chance because of a lot of the themes that it deals with. Interpersonal politics and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I do. That's probably why I signed up for it. Is like, oh, I'll watch Next Generation. Then I just never did.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll say it again. I'll give Next Generation a shot, and I probably won't.
I've always liked Next Generation. I don't think I've seen the whole series, but it wasn't even like any parents. Usually you're introduced by an adult. I think my sister and I would just watch it because there were so many reruns when we would be off from school that we loved Patrick Stewart from X-Men, and we're like, shit, like he's like the best part of the show. And I think just the love for Patrick Stewart is why we ended up loving Next Generation. But then you fall in love with like the cast of characters like Data and Worf.
Yeah, and, for me, you gotta think. Let's see, Star Trek Next.
And while he's looking that up, we have an interview today, folks. So stick around. Adam Cahoon will be on the show from Vault Comics, working on The Nasty. Really, that's the book, not just The Nasty, but The Nasty, the book. So
it's The Nasty. So Star Trek Next Generation aired in 1987 and stayed through 1994. So you got to think, I'm probably watching reruns as a little kid.
Yeah.
A little kid who's obsessed with Star Wars and Batman. And
you're like, there's no laser swords in Star Trek?
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like, let's be real, people. Like, this sucks. Like, it's a bunch of people on a spaceship. I don't see a single laser sword.
Yeah, no laser swords.
Like, if you really want justice in space, just call Batman. Like, he's got it under control.
He just needs to put an air breather on or something like that.
No, so we're probably talking like late seasons, 93, 94 is when I'm first introduced to it. And I am 6 years old.
Yeah.
So that's when my opinion of Star Trek came. My opinion of Star Trek came from.
I was more like 13, 14.
Yeah.
So it was weird though. I think I was more into that than Star Wars. Like I was watching Next Generation, not really caring about, like I had seen the new trilogy of Star Wars, but I never really rewatched any of the Star Wars movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Also, yeah. I still have my VHS of the original movies, so
yeah. Nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
So Paramount Plus, you got to watch the Star Wars. Star Trek. There's so many different Star Trek shows, and I've heard they're all pretty good.
Yeah. My dad's really enjoying the new one.
Beyond?
I think that's what's called, yeah. Except he said there was one episode where they break into song, and he's like, I skipped that one.
I would love to see that one.
I'm kind of with him on this. Like, I don't hate musicals, but I'm not a fan like you are. But I do absolutely despise when my shows like just randomly turn into a musical for an episode.
Well, I mean, if it's a music, why is it a musical? Like, did they get attacked by like nanobots that are programming to sing the songs?
Yeah, I'm sure it's but still, like, dude, when Flash did it, I was just like, oh,
yeah,
I get it. You were all on Glee.
Yeah, I think it was funnier because they're all from Glee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just how I feel about it. I know. I mean, I know a lot of people that say it's awesome. So
cool. Yeah, I would like to check those out eventually.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just jump right into the news. Starting off TV, very sad news found out today. Arlene Sorkin, the original voice for Harley Quinn, passed away at the age of 67. She had a long career as an actress and screenwriter. The original Harley Quinn for Batman, the animated series, so the one that everybody knows and loves, the original appearance, right? So very sad news. And I didn't know this. Christopher Lloyd was married to her. I believe they still were married. So.
Oh wow, I didn't know that either.
Doc Brown himself. So very sad news. Our condolences to the family, but to be immortalized as the original Harley Quinn is pretty badass.
Yeah, and I mean, we joke around about Harley Quinn a lot in this show because the more recent iteration of her is not something we enjoy.
It sucks. Anyways, sorry.
It's too woke for Mike.
I don't even know if it's woke. It just sucks.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same band, Mike. It's just not for me. But
let me preface this. I haven't read any recent Harley Quinn shit in like 2 years. Stephanie Phillips was writing it for a while. I'm sure it was really good when she was tackling it. But it's like a joke for me now.
It was fine when she was writing it, but it wasn't enough for me to stick with it because I just didn't care for the character where she was in that place. Like
Harley Quinn in the White Knight series is great. It's phenomenal. So you can still do the character good. So we've had some good Harley Quinn. Anyways, sorry about that.
But I do have a lot of like nostalgia and love for that original Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. And she even voiced her in the Arkham video games, which was a really great interpretation as well. So yeah, it sucks. I mean, it sucks. But she has a legacy in our community. So
yeah. So condolences to her and the family. Now I'm going to want to watch the animated series again.
Yeah, and when James Gunn does Harley in his new DC universe, like, there better be a tribute to that woman.
I mean, they even had a tribute, God, in the first Suicide Squad movie. Remember they opened up the trunk and it was the original costume, the jester outfit. It was that was probably the best part of the movie, and then it was all downhill shitstorm from there.
There's no best part of that movie.
No. Star Wars Ahsoka episode 1 and 2. I will start off by saying this. I watched the first 20 minutes of episode 1, everybody. And I should have listened to Chris last week when he told me to watch Rebels, because I had to stop and immediately was like, I need to watch Rebels. Not that I wasn't enjoying it. There's some cool stuff going on, but I definitely the name drops and the character reveals and stuff. I feel like would be a lot more epic. Nice. If I had watched Rebels, and I think you can confirm that.
I'll put every preface in the world on this. This is my favorite franchise with my favorite character, with one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite actress.
Yeah.
All put together, and it's a sequel to one of my favorite animated shows in that universe. So there's a lot of favorites going on here. But I was thinking about it because I really loved it. I thought the first 2 episodes, which is basically one big movie, everybody, it's about an hour, 45 minutes altogether. It's a movie's length. And
this dude's badass.
This dude's the fucking man. Ray Stevens, who passed away right after it was filmed too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, so sad.
Yeah, but I really loved it. I thought everything there was great. The action was cool. I like the story they're going for. I love seeing all the characters again, like, you know, just Hera and everybody else in the Rebels team coming together in live action was so great. And since it was so fresh in my mind too, it was that much better. To the point where episode 2 ends. They haven't confirmed whether it's the exact moment, but it's the exact same way that Rebels ends. With them going like, we're going to go find Ezra and meeting up and walking into the sunset. So I have a feeling that that's that moment. Like the first episode was leading up. This was also written and directed by David Filoni, who was the head of Star Wars Rebels. So
yeah,
there's a lot of Rebels going on here. I'm really curious. I haven't been able to talk to anybody who's watched it that hasn't watched Rebels, because I do feel like the negative here, and it's not negative for me, is that they do lean so heavily on Rebels to the point where I'm like, I was watching it going, I don't think people who've never watched Rebels are going to get what the fuck's going on here.
That was my problem. I had to stop watching it. Not because, and I don't want to say because it was bad, because like there's a lot of, that's little furball's cute. Well, ugly, but in a cute way, you know what I mean? But so I've never watched Rebels. I want to watch Rebels. And also, if everybody remembers the famous Pat from Pat's Flashbacks, his take on it was he's never watched Rebels. He watched the first 2 episodes. He said it was really good, but he had no idea what the fuck was going on, was kind of his, which is like where I was. And I didn't want to like continue on and be like, okay, there's a lot of name drops and these like cool reveals. Like they're starting these scenes off with like this character riding a speeder bike, which looked awesome. I have no idea who these people are. So I was like, okay, I need to go back and watch Rebels to enjoy what's happening here, because I feel like those are some epic moments.
Yeah, she's an important part of that show and Star Wars lore, being the Mandalorian of the group. But like, so this image here for audio people, we have a Lothcat on screen. Like, Lothal was the center point of that show, so seeing it in live action was really big for me. Like the mayor who shows up. So this is a Lothcat. This is one of the creatures on the planet. Okay. So then I wonder later on if we're going to get a Loth Wolf, because they played a major role in the story as well.
I gotcha.
The mayor who shows up later on, actually, you might have seen him because he's in the.
Yeah, I did see him. I saw part of it. Yeah.
He's like a big story arc that concludes at the end of Rebels. Like he's a big part of that story. So like all these things come together, and then what really sunk it in for me, and I think it's the next image. Nope, that's Batman.
No, that's Batman. I get that one, Chris.
I don't know why it skipped over, but so the one that sunk into me was when they come to the mural of the Rebels crew, and she's standing in front of it, looking at it, and I'm like, it's literally a 1-for-1 image of what they showed in Rebels.
Yeah. Okay. So so the Rebels, what I gathered from that episode was like the Rebels are infamous, right? That group specifically.
I think so. I guess my quickest synopsis of the show is about a cell of rebels on Lothal. And we find out throughout the show that there's other cells of rebels, and the show kind of ends with all the cells coming together to get their first grand victory, which is to get the Empire off of Lothal.
Okay.
And then like you find out that all the cells came together, and that's what led into New Hope and all that, with what the rebels did there, and so on and so forth. You find that Hera was a part of the Battle of Endor, and like all these things. And so for Lothal, that cell is infamous. That's like the people who freed them from the grips of the Empire.
I gotcha. Okay, just for
so that's why there's like a mural there. But yeah, there's a lot in this. I mean, I think you can get what they're doing without watching Rebels.
Yeah,
because there is some stuff from Mandalorian in here too, like the witch that they say that the 2 dark side. I don't want to call them Sith because they never really refer to them as Sith, but the dark side users. Free, that's from Mandalorian when Ahsoka captures the witch and stuff. And there's a lot of interesting stuff here. Like I love Ray Stevens. I think he's a great actor, and he did a great job in this. This is like the first time in Star Wars lore that I can think of where like we're leaving the galaxy.
Right.
because they talk about how Ezra and Thrawn are in another galaxy. So that's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on here. I really loved it, but like I said, I throw a ton of caveats on that love because there's just a ton for me that's directed towards me. And I almost wonder if I'm a victim of too much information, in my opinion, on this one.
Yeah. I mean, it was perfect for somebody who had just finished watching Rebels. It was like, it's like, it feels like the next season almost. That's what it felt like to me. It was like the season premiere of another season of Rebels.
And to be fair, the reason I rewatched Rebels recently is because Dave Filoni did say that this is Rebels season 5.
Yeah.
So he hasn't hit it.
Right.
But I love that. I love
it. Just slowed things down a little bit for me, so I'll just have to catch up.
Yeah, so I'll keep talking about it every week because it was phenomenal, and hopefully it keeps up.
Yeah. Awesome. Movie news. After last week's discussion on Blue Beetle financials, we now have a better look at how the movie's doing 2 weeks in. After 2 weeks, it's only grossed $43 million, and only saw a 61% decrease week to week in sales. To put this in context, Flash saw 73% drop, and Shazam saw 69% drop. Nice. And I think it's the highest performing for as far as like critic scores maybe, but
I think we talked about that last week where I have no faith in critic scores anymore because it's just people are out there to hate or to love.
It doesn't matter to me anymore.
I threw this in there because we talked about it last week and we were on a short weekend, and I just wanted to kind of reiterate what happened. And it's like it seems like it's not going to meet its financials. I think it's not going to meet the financials they wanted. I think it'll do better than Flash because I was actually like reading a lot about like budgets and all this stuff. So Flash had like a $200 million budget, quote unquote, which is probably higher because of all the crap. This had a $100 million budget, and it's at this, so it could probably surpass its budget, making it a quote unquote success. But it'll still fall below what they want out of it. And I think the fact that it didn't drop as heavy as the other ones tells me that it's probably better in terms of quality, because usually that means that like if you went and saw it, Mike, and then told me like, dude, it's actually really good, you need to go see it, then I would probably go see it.
Yeah, right.
So, more people are telling their friends.
So hey, if it's good, it's good. I'll see it when it's out on HBO, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the one thing not in the movie news, in the notes here, did you watch the Rebel Moon trailer from Zack Snyder?
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Wow, what a kitchen sink blender of things happening in one movie. So, if we remember correctly, this is the scrapped Star Wars script, right? That he had.
It shows.
There's a little bit of Star Wars in there, but then there's like. We had laser swords, we had giant like spider monsters. There's a lot going on. If we know Zack Snyder, it was a really cool trailer.
So this is what I felt after watching it. It was Star Wars meets Dune, directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah, and so we know it's going to be a really good trailer, and it might be an okay movie.
Well, see, I mean, I'll watch it because that Army of what was it, the zombie movie
Army
he
of
did
the Dead?
recently? Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
it really was.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
It's not. I mean, it's nothing like you must go watch it, but like it was a good movie to watch for the night.
Better than Sucker Punch.
I mean, aim the bar a little higher, Mike.
That was one of the best trailers I've ever seen, Chris. I'll tell you right now.
Dude, I was so stoked for that movie.
Yeah, I remember in college, like, this looks awesome.
This is gonna be great. Bunch of girls, like women kicking ass.
Yeah, with a Gatling gun. I was like, what the hell is this hot trash?
It was like somebody like threw together a bunch of video game cutscenes with no idea what's going on in the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it looks interesting, but like we'll see.
Keeping the name Rebel Moon is really on the nose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude, I laughed out loud when the guy pulls out a lightsaber. It was a lightsaber, everybody.
It was a lightsaber. Yeah. I didn't realize until the end of the until the end of the trailer, I was like, oh shit, this was scrapped. Like, I went into it still thinking it was the Star Wars property with that name. I'm like, oh yeah, it can't be. You can't call it Rebel Moon and not have everybody immediately think it's a Star Wars movie. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and it's gonna be 2 movies.
Yeah, with
possibly more down the line. So it's gonna be on Netflix. I mean, I don't gotta go to a theater to watch it. So yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Nice. This is some fun news for me, Chris, because I read the last series. DC has announced
Batman back up.
Yep, there you go. There it is. Michael, not just any Batman. That's Keaton Batman, folks. You could tell from the jawline and the crinkles in his face. DC has announced new additions to its Batman 89 and Superman 78 comic line. For Batman 89, there will be a new series coming late 2023 called Batman 89 Echoes that will be written by Sam Hamm and art from Joe Quinones. So same team up. The series will introduce Scarecrow and Harley Quinn to the Burtonverse Batman. Nice. This is cool.
Yeah, and it seems like from what I read, the Harley Quinn in question was supposed to be or is based on Madonna.
Interesting.
So 90s Madonna, which
that's wild.
At the time, I makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I love these variant covers with the toys now.
Oh my god, yeah.
So funny.
Oh wow. I do love that. That's amazing.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I'm down to see what it's all about. I mean, I still got to read the first. Is there 2 series now or just the one?
There's just the one where it's Two-Face.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because it seems like what they're doing, they're going to base this on Madonna. I don't know if it's actually going to be Madonna. And then Scarecrow, you don't need an actor behind it. You just need the weird costume.
Yep.
And it kind of reminds me of, do you remember when they did that animated movie for Batman 66? And it was William Shatner as Two-Face?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what this reminds me of. It's like, okay, let's do wish casting for the 90s.
Right.
Like the Batman movies kept going.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I had a lot of fun with the last issue. I think this is cool. I mean, yeah, there's a big fan base for the 89 Batman out there. So
yeah, I gotta pick up that first one. Read it.
Yeah. Great covers too. The best part's the covers because you always get like the movie actors on the cover. Batman or for Superman 78, there will be a new series titled Superman 78: The Metal Curtain. It'll be written by Rob Venditti and art by Gavin Guidry. The series will introduce a new Kryptonian relic that crashes into the Soviet Union and creates a new enemy for Superman to face. Based on cover art, seems to be Mentalo. Really cool. It's a nice cover. I think it's a cool concept.
That's definitely Mentalo, right?
Oh yeah. And like having Superman 78, like having a villain he could punch is pretty cool.
So I saw this variant. I think this sounds cool, especially honestly the idea of Mentalo coming from the Soviet Union back in '79.
Yeah,
dope idea. Really I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I love me some bad idea. Don't get me wrong. It's really nice to see Venditti do a not bad idea book.
Yeah, right.
So I was staring at this variant cover the other day, right? And whoever drew this just drew Elon Musk. And I can't unsee it.
It does look like Elon Musk. God.
But I think this is my favorite.
Oh my God, the toy ones. This just reminds me of Robot Chicken for some reason. Because we have these action figure variant covers, everybody, for that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so
I feel like that one is a lot more effort than the Batman one, just riding a motorcycle.
It's I mean, recreating Action Comics number one. I mean, it's great, and I love that figure is actually real too. Like you can buy it right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great figure.
This is great. This is great marketing for the McFarlane toy line.
Yeah. I think both these sound really cool. Good additions to their line that I will probably get 2 years from now because there's too much coming out.
These are the kind of books that like I'll read digitally and then I catch up. Like if I want to buy the physical ones, I'm just gonna go buy them for $1 each somewhere.
Yeah, I mean these are ones that I'll probably like pick up a trade for down the line, or if they're like they go down cheap digitally, I'll get them that way. But yeah, they won't enter my pull list.
Yeah. Marvel announced that Blade's co-creator is returning to the character for one last story. Writer Marv Wolfman alongside artist Dave Cutler are teaming up for What If? Dark Tomb of Dracula #1. This What If comic will tell the story of Blade if he became a full-on vampire. And there you have the cover right there. Is really cool. Sounds like a fun story to do. Yeah, I'm a fan of Blade, and What If is always a fun thing. So
yeah, these What If dark stories have been really cool. Going back kind of the original format. Just a lot of fun. I've read most of them. I bought all of them. The only one I haven't read so far is the Spider-Gwen one, because it's Spider-Gwen.
Yeah. Yep.
But I really enjoyed them, and this is, I mean, to do Blade, get Marv Wolfman back in the saddle.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Hell yeah, man! Like, I'm all about that, and it's just good stuff. And I'm glad they're naming it Tomb of Dracula. That made me happy too. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I do like What Ifs, and I'm a Blade fan. I'm reading that new series, so probably check this out too. James Tynion IV and artist Joshua Hickson announced their new Image comic series coming this December, titled The Deviant. The series will be a horror-themed comic about Santa-themed serial killer. Interesting. I think we've had one of those before, but that cover is very creepy.
I love this cover.
Yeah, it's a really creepy cover. We have a creepy Santa, almost looking like Slender Man on the front. Yeah, that art by Joshua Hickson is really good.
This one sounds interesting. I don't think I'll end up picking it up, but like, it sounds like a really cool book. Like you've said, that cover is creepy and awesome, and I like the idea. I mean, it's cool to do more, holiday themed kind of stories.
Yeah,
and put twists on them. Like, I'm sure. If we look, that's the thing. If we look back, any story that gets announced, we could find where it's been done.
Oh yeah.
It's more about what's Tynion, who's been a pretty good horror writer for a while now, under the radar. What's his twist going to be? And
I just immediately thought of Happy with Grant Morrison when I thought of Killer Santa, but
kind of, yeah. But even that's more like a thriller with a bunch of drugs thrown in.
Yeah, a lot of
Morrison.
Drugs. Yeah,
where I think this will be like really creepy, like modern day Freddy kind of stuff, where it's just like a dude torturing people but dressed as Santa to make it. So there's something there. I think it'll be cool. People will be talking about it. People have had a hard on for Tynion ever since he left DC. So
yeah, he's been doing a lot of horror stuff. Doing it pretty well. So
I like that book, Blue Book he did. That was fun. So
yeah, I didn't read that one.
That was more at my alley. It's like UFO conspiracy stuff.
Okay, so, cool.
Yeah.
Writer and artist Simon Kudransky announced that his new series, Blood Commandment, coming from Image Comics. The series is said to be a relationship between a father and his son as they live in the middle of nowhere trying to survive, which sounds sweet until you learn they are both vampires.
Dun dun dun.
That's a pretty sick looking cover. It looks like an 80s movie, like an 80s horror movie or something, like a VHS cover.
Yeah, the covers are funny as we go through them. Yeah. I love Seisman's work. He's the one that did Something Epic, is doing Something Epic. It's still coming out. And he did that book with Steve Niles last year, A Town Called Terror.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So his art's really good, and he seems to be going on his own, writing some cool stuff. So I'm down for some vampires with a great artist.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see.
Now I get it. Yeah.
The covers have a theme. What makes me laugh here is it's the Blood Commandment redrawn, making fun of the remastered.
So this one looks like the PS4 game case for Last of Us Remastered, which is amazing.
And then the Lost Boys cover.
Oh, the Lost Boys, nice.
So
that's awesome.
I think the book looks cool. I'm definitely gonna check it out. And it's just awesome art. If you haven't seen his art, you should go like Google it or something. His interiors are phenomenal.
Nice. Really good. Boom Studios announced this week that Berserker is coming back with a prequel series from writer Mattson Tomlin, artist Rebecca Isaacs, titled Berserker Fallen Empire. And there he is as like Zeus or something. So yeah, we know this character is pretty much immortal through this dawn of the gods and Zeus himself. So it seems to be what we're getting here. I like the first series. It got kind of off the rails at the end with like the sci-fi. So maybe this will be a lot more grounded because it is like the origin. Might be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read it. I really had no interest in it, personally. But Mattson Tomlin writing it. Fuck yeah,
Matt Kint did the first series, so yeah, Mattson Tomlin doing this one is pretty cool.
His first 2 books I loved. That Batman book he did, and now the Vicious Circle book is his too. So
yeah, he's doing a great job with that book.
Yeah, good for him on getting this gig, and I hope it turns out well for people like you who enjoy Berserker. But yeah, not for me.
Yep. Boom Studios is another announcement from writer Tom King and artist Peter Gross, titled Animal Pond. The series will be a twist on the Animal Farm story where Animal Pound, not pond. Animals in a pound take over and have to come to grips with the new governance they find themselves in charge of. Interesting coming from Tom King. This could be very depressing, but then I also see all this blood on the jail door that the cat is in, so it could be also really gruesome.
I'm sure it'll be fairly gruesome because I imagine that we're talking about. I'm sure he's going to take he says in there it's gonna be like a modern twist on Animal Farm.
Yeah,
and it's very obvious. Like, we're in a pound. Like, what's in a pound nowadays? Cats and dogs, right?
Yeah, right.
So it's cats and dogs trying to live together under some sort of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the themes are pretty. Like, they might as well just punch you on the nose with it.
Yeah, yeah, for real.
But I'm a sucker for Animal Farm stuff. I forget what that other book was that was doing it recently that I really liked. So we'll see. It's tough. I was just having a conversation with somebody because actually a conversation with a bunch of people in a Discord channel where everybody's like going off of how great Tom King is. And I'm just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I've read a bunch of his stuff, tried it, and I'm like, he's not a bad writer. Don't get me wrong. It's just something doesn't click with me with his stuff. So this will be a tough one, but I think if we get review copies, I'll give it a shot to see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know if it's enough for me to. And when I read Tom King now, it's usually a finished trade because the payoff is an issue to issue with that guy.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it was you I was talking to about it with his writing process. Like,
yeah,
that's from his writing. Like, he should just release OGNs because his writing process is here's the entire series, and he writes it almost as an essay, and then the artist has to interpret it.
Yeah.
Which I think is part of the reason why Batman was rough, because he couldn't do that. You can't write 100 issues at once.
No,
and then
you can't. Yeah. Yeah. You need to have stopping points.
Yeah. So we'll see with this one. I mean, it's a lot of we'll see for me this week, but
yeah,
I'm sure we're going to get review copies of it. So I will be checking it out and talking about it.
This is not in the same excitement as the announcement of Godzilla, Kong, and Justice League.
Oh no, that's a tough one to beat, man.
Yeah, that might be the announcement of the year.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna finish with some more sad news this week. Longtime Marvel comic artist Dan Green passed away, age 70. Best known for his work as an inker on Uncanny X-Men with John Romita Jr. Some of those iconic X-Men art. Again, there it is. That's the Wolverine we know and love right there with John Romita Jr.'s art. Yeah, sad. Another sad piece of news here, but condolences to his family.
Yeah, definitely. This week kept coming to mind with these announcements because 67, 70. Like, my father's gonna be 71.
Yeah, right.
But it just hit me hard this week with this stuff. I'm like, God damn it.
Yep.
I never read any of his stuff that he worked on because I was never a big X-Men fan, and a lot of it's like pre my time and my time being alive, let alone my time in comics. So
right.
But I know a lot of people who were really into X-Men and other stuff of that era spoke very highly of him. So be remembered through the work. But yeah, it sucks for his family and everything. Hopefully everything goes well for them.
And with that, we will talk about what we read this week. I read a whole whopping 2 comics because I just needed to catch up on some stuff. I caught up on Queen of Swords. I read the second one like you talked about last week. Yeah, it's a fun book. I mean, it's a barbaric book. The talking sword is great.
Yeah.
I did like how they did like the Dagobah thing where everybody shows up and has to fight like their fears. Like, Luke with Darth Vader kind of thing in the cave. I think that was on Dagobah, right? But that's what it reminded me of, where they're all like, oh, we have to face your fears, and they find out like, oh, it's fake. But yeah, it's an interesting story. And then the one book that I couldn't go without reading this week was Batman Neo-Gothic #2 from our boys Kelly and Lanzig, and then Dunbar on the art. Yeah, dude, awesome series, awesome issue. Huge fight with Killer Croc, mutant deformed Killer Croc that's been living under Gotham for a long time. And we find out he's guarding something. There's another layer, Batman's underneath Gotham, and he's like, oh, the Killer Croc keeps referring to a tomb. He's got to guard it, blah, blah, blah. And we find out it's a tomb of owls. And everybody knows owls refers to Court of Owls. What a huge reveal. What an amazing issue. And yeah, Lanzig and Kelly, you son of a bitch. Both of you collectively. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great. When Court of Owls stuff pops up. Yeah. I mean, once again, I can't remember where it was talked about. It had to have been with you. But a recent conversation where I was like, we haven't really gotten a ton of Court of Owls stuff since it was introduced.
Sure it was on here. Yeah.
So to see it here in Batman Beyond was great. So
yeah. So that's cool. I can't wait to see the Beyond version of, because the owls still have to be around, right? You would think.
Yeah, and there's some interesting stuff there. There's some resurrection powers there. Let's not forget that. Yeah. Dude, this series is great. I don't even know what else to say about it.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. That's all I got to this week, Chris.
So some quick ones from last week. One you talked about was Night Terror's Superman #2. I read. It was really good. Everything you said, I knew
you'd like it because the Aquaman stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Aquaman stuff in particular was really great, and how they handled it. And I like kind of the comic book science as to why Aquaman wasn't asleep the whole time.
Yeah,
and then the respect between Aquaman and Superman at the end was really great to see. So yeah, it's a good book. I Hate Fairyland #8, and great issue. So we got like little kid Gert back, and now she's got to go find an old friend to find her way out of Fairyland, because she was promised if she killed old Gert that she would be able to leave. But then in classic Gert fashion, she fucks it all up, and now she has to find another way out because the way she had is no longer available. And then Daredevil #14 came out last week. This is the last issue of Daredevil from Chip and Chichello. Really great ending. It was bittersweet, but I absolutely loved it. And now the whole thing will be out for everybody to check out in trades and whatnot soon. So I suggest not sleeping on that one. That was a good run.
Cool.
And the last one from last week is What If Dark Moon Knight #1, which is not really great What If book. And it takes place, it's like Moon Knight, Mark Spector issue. Yes, it takes place after Mark Spector Moon Knight #3 from the 90s, in which Moon Knight actually dies, And then the woman he goes to save comes back, and she takes the power of Ra,
Mm-hmm.
the sun god, Ra, instead of Khonshu, and becomes a Moon Knight-like figure, but for the sun. And she's named the Luminary.
Interesting.
And then from this week, let's start with some Kickstarter books. Y'all might remember this from like last year because it was digital only, but they did a Kickstarter for it. Death Transit Tanager. I absolutely love this book. I read it digitally, but I did the Kickstarter and I reread it this week. Cool. And I really recommend it. It's like a Metroid-esque kind of book, but the whole kind of spoilers for the first like story, but I don't know how else to explain it. The whole thing is that she gets these messages from people, presumably their souls, and she has to go find their bodies and transport them to somewhere else. And that's kind of the big reveal at the end of the first story, is that the person who hired her is actually like a soul that took her to this planet to where he was killed, and now she has to bring him back to be buried. And it's really great black and white art. I can't recommend it enough. And then my favorite book, but this one's gonna be hard for me to recommend because there's too much like caveats on it, kind of like Ahsoka. But it's I Summon Cthulhu to Fund My Kickstarter from Pat Shand.
That's awesome.
So I absolutely love this book. It's a kind of fictitious version of the real world where Pat's first starting off as a comic creator, and he had just done his story in Angel, and then was going to launch his first Kickstarter. And it goes nowhere. But then he runs into people at the con, and the people at the con are like people that we've had on the show, friends of ours. So we're talking about Travis Gibb, we're talking about Charlie Stickney, and the list just goes on. Russell Nolte, and so on and so forth. And he finds out that they're all part of this cult that worship at Cthulhu and the different elder gods, and that's how they're able to fund their Kickstarters.
Amazing.
So he finds one that is known as the waifu goddess.
Oh my god.
And of course it's Pat Shand. So Pat's like got this whole other publishing line he does where we joke around with him. It's like, it's sexy comics, but it's like, it's comics based around sex. It's cheeky comics. And so of course he goes for the waifu god to fund his Kickstarter.
That's awesome.
And it works and everything. And then he has to give like these sacraments to it all the time, every time he goes back to that con every year. And he ends up finding out that the whole time he was actually like helping this demon escape, and that demon then helped Cthulhu escape. And that's kind of how the first issue ends. So I really loved it, but like my friends are in it.
Yeah, right.
And like I sent you one of the panels. Like, there's literally a panel where it says where they think they're going to like the underground scene that Charlie Stickney invites them to, and they don't know what's going on. And the one guy is just like, I mean, we can go, but like he thinks it's a sex party, and he says the line like I'm not gonna fuck Charlie Stickney if we're here, and it just makes me laugh. Awesome. So I don't know how to recommend it, but I did really enjoy it.
Cool.
Captain America finale. This is the end of the Lansing Kelly run. Kind of this whole issue is just placing all the pieces back in the board for Straczynski to take over. So it's a good issue. I liked it, but it's literally just kind of getting everything back in place for the next guy to do his thing.
Okay.
So I wouldn't recommend it if you're not a regular reader of Captain America. Marvel Unleashed #1. This is the Pet Avengers book that
nice.
Kyle Starks is doing.
Nice.
So Lockjaw gets kidnapped by Kraven, and then we meet this dog who's a stray, who finds one of Demolition Man's masks in the garbage, and decides that he's going to become a hero to take up justice, and calls himself D-Dog.
Oh my god.
And then like there's another dog who asks for his help, and it's a poodle, and we find out that poodle's master is like a hive scientist. And they decide to go to the Avengers Tower to get the Avengers, but and this is one of my favorite lines, they're off in space fighting a sentient cloud. And So Red Wing and I forget the cat's name from Captain Marvel, but they team up with him and to go figure out what's going on. They confirm the suspicions, and at the end they decide that they need to go find more members to help them out because the scientists actually summoned a demon. And the one guy goes, well, the only way to fight a demon is with a god. And that's when we get the reveal that they're going to go for Throg, the Frog of Thunder.
The Frog of Thunder, yeah.
Nice. And then there's a great line where like the Stray's kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say ditzy, but just like not that smart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, so you have no affiliation with Demolition Man? And she's like, no, I don't even know who that is. She goes, so why'd you call yourself D-Dog? What's the D stand for? And she's like, dog. And so one of them's like, so you're dog? It's like, I don't know. It's a funny, cute little line. Immortal Thor #1 came out. Really enjoyed it. It's resetting a lot of the stuff that Donnie did in his run. And I forget the other writer who kind of finished Donnie's stuff after he had the accident. But it brings back Asgard and kind of puts it back in its place. Loki's no longer the god of the Frost Giants anymore, or the king of the Frost Giants anymore. He's doing his own thing. We get the Rainbow Bridge back in this. So it's a big reset button is what this issue is. But then it also sets up what's to come forward. So when they rebuild the bridge, Thor goes to Midgard and kind of just does his thing, saving people and hanging out with humans. And that's when this being comes and attacks and he has a fight. And that's going to set up the story going forward. And it seems like they're basically setting, there's humans, there's gods, and then there's these beings. And they even say in there, like, these beings see gods as gods see humans. So there's like a hierarchy there, but nobody had seen them before. They were thought to be myth.
Interesting.
So interesting kind of thing. And my last book, Mike, is The Schlub #1.
The Schlub?
This is from KLC Press, Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's line. Mm-hmm. And it's written by Stegman with Kenny Porter. The whole thing here is we've got a guy, this, an overweight, kind of bum dentist who's running his own practice, but it's going under. He's divorced, but he's still in love with his ex-wife, even though she's done all these things to him. He's a schlub. And he lives in the world of superheroes, and basically Superman falls into his practice, and the villain they're going against switches their minds. So now the schlub is in Superman's mind, and Superman's mind's in the schlub's. And he now has ultimate power. And he's even told, like, dude, you have the power to just destroy everything. So try not to use it until I figure out how to fix this. That's and awesome. Then the next page, it's him just using his powers for his own, like, deeds. Fun, goofy kind of story. I like where they're going with it. The art fits the feel of the book. It's very cartoony in the art. I would really recommend this. I think you would really like it, Mike. Okay. And just anyone out there who likes superhero stuff but wants kind of some levity in their superhero stuff, I think this is the book out there right now, at least this one issue, that is going to bring it. So nice. I was very happy with this issue.
Cool. Awesome.
Mike, that was everything I read this week. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fortress Ricker on X, Twitter, whatever. Where can they find you and or the show?
You can find me on most social media networks at Fortress Chris. And you can find me, or you can find the show at fortresscomicnews.com or at fortresscomics_ on X. And if you want to support the show, the best way to do it is to give us a 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice. Or if you're watching the YouTube version, to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below. If you're going to extra mile, there's Patreon at patreon.com/fortresscomics. Thank you all so much for watching and or listening this week. We'll see y'all here next week.
See ya.